Mama, do you have Google Classroom?
No.
We're recording. All right.
You can type it in.
We are going to learn about inferencing, and specifically we're going to learn about how to take a quote from a text and use that to give evidence that we made an inference. So right now I've written inference on the board, and I want both of you to kind of talk with each other and see if you can come up with a definition for that word. You can think about what that means.
What do you think it means, Andrea?
Educated guess.
An educated guess, okay.
Theory, thesis, hypothesis, or what?
When you make an inference, what do you do?
Use evidence.
Use evidence to what?
Fine.
Use evidence to what?
Come up with an answer.
To come up with an answer. Okay.
From the text.
From the text. So use evidence from the text
Yeah.
to come up with an answer. With an answer to what?
Question.
A question.
The question.
Oops. That's big. Is it a question that I ask or that you ask?
Either.
Either one.
Could be both.
Yeah.
Let's say a question that we have about the text. How does that sound?
Good.
Okay. So, an important thing to remember is that an inference is not something that you can get directly from the text. An inference is something that you think based on something that you read in the text. Not directly in the text, but we can find stuff inside of the text that is kind of like our evidence for thinking that. So we're going to look at a document, a reading passage right here. It's called Wild Wild Weather. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to start out and I'm just going to read the first paragraph. And then we'll go from there. Okay? So it's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring. Have you ever heard that song? It's a famous tune about the weather. Weather is something that affects all of us daily. Extreme weather is something that affects most people only a few times in their lives. So, whenever I read this text, it makes me think that tornadoes are not very common. And the reason that I think that is because it says that extreme weather is something that affects most people only a few times in their lives. So my inference just from that paragraph is that tornadoes are not very common. And my evidence would be the quote at the end that says extreme weather is something that affects most people only a few times in their lives. So there's a way that I can organize this information, and it's called a T-chart. We've used T-charts before. They look like this. Can you see that? Okay. So it should be in my video bubble. Can you see the video bubble?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So on the left side, I've written inference. That's my left column. And on the right side, I've written evidence. So on the left side, my inference is that tornadoes are not very common. So I'm going to write that down. Okay. And my evidence, what did I say that my evidence was for that?
That extreme weather is something that affects most people only a few times in their life.
Yes. So, extreme weather is something. ... I'm not going to write the rest of that out. So I want both of you to make a T-chart, on a sheet of paper. Do you have a sheet of paper handy?
Yep, I do.
Trying to find something to write with.
So on the left side of your column, it should be labeled inference, just like mine. I know that's backwards. I'm sorry. And then on the right side of your column, it should be labeled evidence. Does everybody have that?
Yes.
Okay. So on the left side, whenever I write my inference, I want to start that sentence with the words I think. So let's use my inference and go ahead and write that down. I think tornadoes are not very common. And that's my inference. It's something that I think about the text, or it's something that I think about the topic that the text is on, since this is a nonfiction passage. Now, on the right side, my evidence, I want to use the direct quote from the text that made me think my inference. And my direct quote is, extreme weather is something that affects most people only a few times in their lives. So I'm going to use my quotation marks because remember, that's how we quote things. And I'm going to write that sentence out. So then your T-chart should look like this. You should have, I think tornadoes are not very common, because that's my inference. And on the right, you should have your evidence, which is that quote that we picked out from the text. Now I'm going to put you in partners, and there's only 2 of you, so that's easy. And I want you to go through the rest of this article and read it. Each of you could read a paragraph at a time. And when you get finished, I want you to go back through, and I want you to come up with 2 more inferences on your T-chart. And when you do your inference, make sure that you start it with the words, I think. And when you do your evidence, how do we put our evidence on the right side?
Quote it.
Quote it. So use quotation marks. Okay. So go ahead and get started on that, and if you have any question, let me know.
Okay.
Can everybody see the
Yeah.
document? Okay.
Do you want to read first? You want me to, Angela or Andrew?
I can.
Okay.
Extreme weather includes flooding, rains, tornadoes, blizzards, and hurricanes. People study weather so they can inform us. These are the people who give us the information we need so that we can remain safe in the case of extreme weather.
Okay. Tornadoes. A tornado is a storm that can cause destruction in its path. Winds can reach up to 300 miles per hour. Tornadoes form from thunderstorms. They are most common in an area of the United States called Tornado Alley. This area is where many tornadoes form because of the way the air moves. Okay, I want to go ahead and do an inference. So I think that the area that's called Tornado Alley gets a lot of tornadoes, has a lot of tornadoes.
Okay.
And then the evidence would be they are most common in an area of the United States called Tornado Alley.
Very good. All right.
Okay. Do you want to read the next paragraph?
Are we?
We're at cool, dry air.
Okay, that's what I thought. Cool, dry air from the north and warm, moist air from the south meet. This causes thunderstorms, which can become severe. When the atmosphere is not stable, the winds can increase and produce a tornado.
Water spouts. A water spout is a weak tornado. It forms over water. It can happen on the ocean, and it can happen on smaller bodies of water such as lakes. Waterspouts are most common in the Gulf of Mexico. They have occurred in the tropics as well. Waterspouts can pick up things such as animals or tree limbs and drop them in other places. If a waterspout moves onto land, it becomes a tornado and can cause damage. Well, wild weather comes in many forms. Tornadoes and waterspouts are directly related and look alike. Both weather events require attention because they can be dangerous to humans and animals. Wild weather is fascinating and it is completely unpredictable sometimes.
Very good.
1/1 divided by that number. Sorry, my daughter's asking me a question.
Andrea, can you come up with an inference from the passage?
I'm thinking. Waterspouts happen in more than one place.
Okay. So your inference
I think waterspouts happen in more than one place. Sorry.
Okay, what quote makes you think that?
It said, well, it would really be more than one thing. It says that waterspouts are most common in the Gulf of Mexico, and then it goes on to say that they have occurred in the tropics as well.
Very good. So that would be
different
the
places.
quote. But we can quote more than one sentence in the same quote, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be the whole quote, is the two sentences that made you think your inference. Very good. Okay. So you completed that with a partner, but each person will turn in their own paper at the end of class so that I can look at them. And we have already shared our inferences with everybody. So that's it. I'm going to stop recording when I find it.